What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and I have a special guest with me once again. Your one and only Football Pharoah. Football Pharoah, how are you doing? Tell the people where they can find you on YouTube and on social media.
You can find me on YouTube. The YouTube channel's name is Football Pharoah. And you can find me on Twitter as well. Same name, Football Pharoah, at Soccer Pharoah. That's at Soccer Pharoah.
Lovely. So in today's video, Football Pharoah and I, as he mentioned, will be ranking all 55 member associations in UEFA on their chances of going to Qatar, basically qualifying for the 2022 World Cup. And we're using this tier list where we have 5 different tiers: going to Qatar, standby, missed the flight, visa denied, and invalid passport. Just to give you a brief explanation of all tiers, let's start from the bottom. Invalid passports, basically we put into that category teams that are just ranked minnows and absolutely have no chance of making it. Visa denied, a little better than those teams, and they won't make it, but they just won't make it. Miss the flight are teams that will show some promise, teams that may have qualified for the World Cup before, but from our assessment of how they are doing, would just miss the flight. And it takes us to standby, where we are going to put teams that we know can make it. Is a possibility. They can get through to the playoffs, but we're not 100% sold, or we're not 100% sure that they will. And going to Qatar in green, we are giving those teams the green light. We are fully convinced that they will definitely be playing the Winter World Cup in Qatar 2022. You understand what we do in Football Pharoah, right? Fully.
Absolutely. I like the organization behind it all, and yeah, I can't wait to dive into it. You know, you and I, guys, we know you love this material, and Dom and I love making it, and we're a bunch of nerds. We know many of you are as well. So we got the flags here. I'm sure a lot of you will know. So yeah, this should be a juicy one.
Definitely, man. So before we do get into the groups, we will be doing this group by group. So there's from group A to group, I think, J. So we'll be going through all the groups, 55 teams. We'll be showing every team a little bit of love and some hate as well. But before we do, we are going to let you know the format for which teams can qualify for the 2022 Qatar World Cup. So there's 13 spots available for UEFA. That's the most spots for any confederation. And for the group stages, there'll be 10 groups of 5 or 6 teams, with the 4 teams that made it to the UEFA Nations League final being in the smaller groups. So the group winners of each and every one of the 10 groups will qualify directly to Qatar. So we will know 10 teams that will make it to Qatar after the group stages are over. But how do you come up with the next 3 teams? Well, there'll be a playoff spot, and this time around there's a twist. The 10 group runners-up would be joined by the best 2 Nations League group winners. This is very important to note. Group winners based on the Nations League overall ranking that finished outside the top 2 of their qualifying group. So 2 teams would actually pair up with the 10 runners-up, and those teams have to place outside the top 2 in their groups. But those teams have to be eligible to get into the back door there. They have to win the Nations League group. And according to the Nations League ranking, then is where they would actually get the opportunity to make it to the playoffs. So these 12 teams will be drawn into 3 playoff paths, playing 2 rounds of single match playoffs, semis and final, with the home teams to be drawn, with the 3 path winners qualifying directly to the World Cup. And I think I did my best explaining that. And Football Pharoah, that was clear, right?
Clear as day to me, at least.
And we just had to clarify that back door into the playoffs via the Nations League, because that could be very, very, very tricky. So without further ado, let's get into this, man. I'm so looking forward to doing this. You don't even understand. And we are going to start from Group A. Portugal leads the table with 7 points. Serbia second with 7. Luxembourg third with 3. Republic of Ireland without a point. And Azerbaijan without a point. Before we go through each and every team, just to note that there's 2 potential debutants in this group, Luxembourg and Azerbaijan. Let us start with bottom of the pile, Azerbaijan football. Pharoah, talk to me and then I'll give my thoughts on where I have them as well.
So I don't consider Azerbaijan to be among the minnows in Europe. I think they're well above in quality, ahead of many other teams like Malta and Andorra and certainly San Marino. But because of where they are in the group right now, and given the opposition in their group, I actually have them at invalid passport. I thought about putting them at visa denied, but I felt like being a little bit harsh here. I just don't see any path forward for them. So I have them in invalid passport.
I actually have them in visa denied because they're not a very bad team, and we know traveling to Azerbaijan could be hell, literally. It's called the land of fire. So the distance of traveling to Azerbaijan is unreal, man. So good luck to the teams traveling there. So we're not going to linger too much. Azerbaijan, as we said, are potential debutants, and they're not a team that we really think is going to scratch the surface in terms of qualifying for Qatar 2022. Do they have a backdoor via the Nations League? No, they do not. So we're going to move right on. Nothing else to add on Azerbaijan. Let's talk about the Republic of Ireland, who last qualified for the World Cup in 2002. They made it in 1990 and in 1994. And they got as far as the round of 16, even the quarterfinals back in 1990. So let us talk about the Republic of Ireland. What are your thoughts?
I think Ireland's in a little bit of trouble. It's still very early on in the qualifiers with, I believe, 7 match days still to go. One of their upcoming games is against Portugal, which should be an L on paper. They were put to the sword by Luxembourg back in March, and sitting right now on the table, I believe. What are they on? They're currently on 0 points from the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Now,
3
granted,
games. Isn't it 2 games? 2 games. They played 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Granted, they have 1 game in hand over Serbia and Portugal, but 7 points is quite a little bit of distance. I think Ireland are not on track, of course, to break that 20-year spell of missing the World Cup. I have them on miss the flight.
Yeah, same here. But you just gotta say koi big. Come on, you boys in green. You could do better than that. The teams, the way they stack up in this group, not very good. Last time around, they did miss out via the playoffs. They got smashed up by Denmark. You could remember that. And this time around, I don't think they'll come close to the playoffs at all. Not even top the group. Do they have a backdoor via the Nations League? No, they do not. So,
nope. They finished a very distant 3rd in their group, I believe, behind Wales and Finland. Didn't win a single game.
So the Republic of Ireland, we could all conclude they have been in the mud recently. Luxembourg, talk to me. Luxembourg are potential debutants, and interestingly, they have been trying since the 1934 World Cup, and they have failed every single time. But this is a very improved team. You could see they picked up a victory against the Republic of Ireland. And I don't know if they'll compete too much against Portugal and Serbia, but it's a good start to their World Cup qualifying campaign. What are your thoughts on Luxembourg?
I think Luxembourg have an outside chance to challenge for a playoff spot, especially if the Irish continue to mess things up and if Serbia were to fall by the wayside. But even though the fact in the last few years they have very much so risen their stock, I think they're one of the more improved teams in Europe, certainly. who could forget that famous result that they got, a 0-0 draw in World Cup qualifying back in 2017 against the eventual champions, France. But I'm going to be a little bit harsh here. I just don't see it. I have them in visa denied.
So Luxembourg, visa denied according to Football Pharaoh. So just locate the flag there. Nice flag. Looks like the Netherlands flag, but it is not. It's a light. Did I get the flag right though?
Yeah, you did.
I did. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. Don't want to mess things up here. But I also, where do I have Luxembourg? I do have them on missed the flight. So you have them in visa denied, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to move right on to Serbia. We're in the region where these teams could act. They stand a very good chance of qualifying for the World Cup. Serbia and Portugal level on 7 points, but we'll start with Serbia first, who, as Serbia, qualified for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, and they were at the last World Cup in Russia, and they're not a bad outfit at all. Talk to me about Serbia.
Serbia's placement right now in the group, they're right neck and neck with the Portuguese. I thought they were a little bit fortunate to not drop all their points at home. There was a goal by Cristiano Ronaldo, you may remember, that would have given Portugal the 3-2 victory that was incorrectly called off. There was no goal line technology that was used in that match. But, they'll take it. They'll happily take it. They're undefeated so far in this group. 2018 World Cup participants, just individually as a team. They're an overall way more talented squad than the other three sides we've talked about in this group. But they should still finish behind the reigning Nations League champions. So I have Serbia on standby. I think at this point they should get to the playoffs, and then from there it's all about who they meet.
Same here, same thoughts. Just for fun fact, back in 2018, the Republic of Ireland actually placed second behind Serbia in their group, and Serbia qualified directly. So these teams, they have history, and they will be at war during this World Cup qualification cycle. So Serbia, you never know what could happen though, Football Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? With UEFA's blunder, not having goal line technology, I think they do have it this time around. And I'm not even, matter of fact, I'm not even sure, but UEFA, you're suspect for not having all the technology available in World Cup qualifiers, for crying out loud. So are they gonna pull an upset against Portugal? Listen, judging from what we saw at the Euros with Portugal, you never know. I'm just gonna put that out there. You never know. Portugal might just be going through playoffs, but I'm just saying that for reasoning's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But for Portugal, who placed third, their best finish in 1966. They qualified in 1986. They made it from 2002 all the way to 2018. So for the last, let's say, 20 years, they have been powerhouses in world football and very consistent in terms of qualifying for the FIFA World Cup. What are your thoughts on Portugal and their chances of making it to Qatar 2022?
There's always a chance that Portugal could make a meal out of this group, and in past World Cup cycles, they've had to go through the playoffs in order to make it to the showpiece event. But I expect them to be on that flight to Qatar. I have them indefinitely going to Qatar. I think this Portuguese team all around is an even better one that won the Euros 5 years ago. I don't read too much in Euro 2020 because they came through a very hellacious group with the Germans and the French and an unexpectedly tough Hungarian side. A very grueling game against Belgium, that they narrowly lost out in. So, yeah, I mean, this is looking like it's possibly going to be Cristiano Ronaldo's last hurrah, but Coach Fernando Santos in the last few years has brought in some young, fresh faces into this squad. And I think that they should qualify, and they should, on paper at least in my view, be contenders.
Yes, man. Wealth of talent in every department. Goalkeeping, defending, right back, left back, forwards. You know, you have your Diego Jota, Andre Silva, Gonzalo Guedes, Joao Felix. You have your Bruno Fernandes. You have the list goes on, man. Sergio Oliveira, Cristiano Ronaldo, and I could keep naming these names on and on and on. The big defender Pepe is still around, and it's hard not to see Portugal qualifying directly for Qatar 2022. So I also have them qualifying directly. So we're just gonna put them in, go into Qatar, and all the best to all 5 teams in the group. May the best teams qualify, but that'll be it for our analysis of
Yep.
Group A. So, Football Pharaoh, one thing we have to note, if Portugal finishes outside the top 2, they will not have a Nations League path into the playoffs. So, they better finish top 2. And as of now, it looks like everything's on the money. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, they should qualify. I think they should do it undefeated. I mean, Serbia were always a tough outfit, but on paper at least, that away game should have been their toughest game. Ireland or struggling. Luxembourg and the others, Luxembourg and Azerbaijan, just not good enough. So I would be very shocked if Portugal did not qualify.
Well said. And we will move on to the next group, Group B, where there's Spain, Sweden, Greece, Georgia, and Kosovo. Before we continue, let's note Spain are the only team from this group that has a Nations League lifeline in the event that they place outside the top 2 in this group B. And who knows what'll happen, man. But still, just want to make note that they have that lifeline for the Nations League. They have that cushion. And UEFA always finds a way to find any way to prevent the big teams from somehow missing out, if you really look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at what happened to Italy the last time around. I'm pretty sure, and the USA as well. Well, there's no loophole from the USA, but they missed a lot of money from the USA and Italy not making it to Russia 2018, I'm pretty sure. Talk to me about Kosovo, potential debutants, second World Cup qualifiers ever. Talk to me, Kosovo.
Very interesting Balkan nation. Just joined UEFA, I think, back in 2015. I mean, they're a decent, I think, second or third string side. I think that they were promoted from their Nations League group in the first season from D into League C. They've been somewhat on the rise as well. I have them at visa denied just because I think the group overall, even teams outside of Spain and Sweden, you look at Greece, you look at Georgia, that's like very stiff competition for Kosovo. I don't see very much in quality separating those 3 sides. That's why I think they should duke it out for those last 3 spots. But I think it might be 1 or 2 cycles too early for Kosovo to really make a huge impact. But they're not a minnow by at all. That's all. But I have them at visa denied. If they were in a slightly more navigable group, I would put them at missed the flight.
Yeah, they have some very talented players in their team, man. You know, Milo Rashica come to mind. There's Valan Berisha and a few more names. I'm not really gonna. Bersan Selina, former Man City player. So they have the talent. Ari Muric, who does play for Man City, he's out on loan. So they do have talent in their team. And as you said, it might be a few cycles too early. So guys, do not write off Kosovo for the 2030 World Cup, maybe we should say.
Yeah, possibly. It'll be at least a couple cycles.
Yeah, but I like the emergence of new teams though. So we are gonna move on to Georgia. Georgia. Oh, Georgia. Talk to me about Georgia. Potential debutants. The closest they ever came to qualify was in 2002. So if you want, do some research on Georgia, 2002 World Cup qualification, and you'll see how close they got. So talk to me about Georgia.
Well, just like their neighbors in the Caucasus, Armenia and Azerbaijan, playing away in Tbilisi is a difficult away venue. So far, they've been not pushed around in this group. They denied Spain until stoppage time in their game at home in March. They went away and got a draw against Greece. So they're a stubborn thorn in everyone's side. That's how Georgia has always been. But much like Kosovo, I think because of the group itself being very difficult, I also have them at visa denied.
Well said, man. Big up to the boy Karavatskhelia. I was perusing through the internet, and I found out that Kvaratskhelia, the young talented player from Georgia, he picked up an injury. I think he'll be out for the long term. He plays his football in Russia. So, yeah, hope he gets fit and could help Georgia qualify for the World Cup in Qatar. So, where do you have Georgia again, just to reiterate?
I have them a visa denied.
So, visa denied, Georgia. Same here. Same here for Kosovo. Same here for Georgia. And we're going to move right on to the next team, Greece, 2004 European champions.
Yeah, with Greece, that was a storybook year for them, wasn't it? Euro 2004, one of the biggest shocks in international football in recent memory. Ever since the 2014 World Cup, though, they've not qualified for any major tournament. They've missed the last World Cup. They missed the last 2 European Championships, both of which were expanded to 24 nations. They were unable to make it to. But, they, as I will mention again when we talk about Spain, they're showing flashes here and there of still being that side that is difficult to put away. They went away from home in Spain and got a famous draw. They're a class above the likes of Kosovo and Georgia, but I put them below the Swedes and the Spaniards. So I think miss the flight is a fair categorization for Greece.
Yeah, in terms of Greece, I do have them in miss the flight as well. So yeah, the glory days are over, man. It's definitely over. So Greece missed the flight. So where's the freaking Greece flag again? God damn, I can't find the flag. Yeah, right
Keep
here.
going. Right there.
Right here. Missed the flight, guys. It's gonna be very tricky with these flags in these circles, man. But in terms of Greece, they qualified for the 94, 2010, and the 2014 World Cup. They made the playoffs back in 2018, and from what I could recall, they lost to Croatia, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah, the eventual finalists. Yeah,
exactly. So that's not a bad team to actually lose to. So look out for players like Kostas Tsimikas, Vlachodimos, the goalkeeper, Zeka, Mantolas, and Papastotopoulos, Socrates, Papadopoulos, as well, Kyriakos. You gotta remember the Manolas, very talented defender as well, Bouchalakis. So they do have quality in their team, though. It's just about coming together and putting good performances and knocking off Sweden and Spain. And they've shown that they can compete with that draw against Spain. So for Greece, though, I don't think they're good enough to make it to Qatar. So definitely miss the flight. Next up, we have Sweden. They have 6 points right now in the group. They have qualified for 12 out of 21 World Cups. And they hosted the World Cup back in 1958. And they were quarterfinalists in 2018. Talk to me about Sweden.
Standby. I really liked what I saw from them in Euro 2020. I think that Emil Forsberg's team really let him down in that round of 16 clash against Ukraine. He had a couple of efforts, I believe, that struck the post. Very unlucky stuff. I would have loved to have seen them advance further in that tournament. And they took the group stages by storm. They held Spain level. They picked up victories against Slovakia and Poland in the process. I want to see guys like Alexander Isak really step up, the youngster, and see what kind of role he plays for this Swedish team going forward. I think they can be very lethal on their day. And I think... maybe this might be a controversial view for some of the viewers. I think they are a real threat to challenge for first in this group because they're playing that same Spanish team, and they have a crucial game this in just a week or so at home against Spain, and they can get a victory there. Ooh,
yeah. Group B is shaping up very nicely, and it's between the two teams at the top, no denying that. And Spain going through a transition right now, even though they were impressive at the Euros. Listen, man, we know Sweden, we know what they're capable of doing. And even if Sweden, let's say, manages to come in second, this is not the team you want to meet in the playoffs. And you could ask Italy back in 2018 if you don't believe what I'm saying. So definitely, I do have Sweden on standby as well. I'm not sure if they got Jan Anderson, big up to Jan Anderson as well, who I think you heard about the fact that he eats a hot dog before every game or something like that.
Does he really? That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I think and he has he has like the condiments, the specific condiments. He walks with it and everything. So yeah, that is a fun story. And you could fact check me if you don't believe me as well. And
I like him even more now.
Yeah, so Sweden, very interesting team, man. Talent all over the field as well. Very, very gritty outfit. But talk to me about the 2010 World Cup champions, 1982 hosts, Spain. 15-time World Cup qualification, and the heavyweights, big time.
Yeah, this might be the most difficult point to sell, but hear me out. Last World Cup qualifying cycle, we had a couple of big casualties from Europe, Italy and the Netherlands. Coincidentally, Sweden played a part in both of those teams missing that World Cup. I still believe that Spain, for the most part, struggles to break teams down. And we saw this earlier this year when they really made hard work against Greece and Georgia. They barely scraped through. They were held by the Greeks in their home ground. Even at Euro 2020, I mean, they were in contention for elimination all the way until the final match day. And they did turn it up a notch, and they put a good number of goals past the likes of Slovakia and Croatia. Arguably, they played their best game of that tournament in that semifinal against Italy. But the thing with Spain is you have guys like Alvaro Morata and Dani Olmo. They're either hot or cold. Alvaro Morata in Euro 2020 was the dictionary definition of a player that was hot or cold.
Yeah,
we saw his form was all over the place for Spain. And I'm not comfortable in saying that they're definitely going to go to Qatar. I think it just takes a little slip up against a clinical Swedish side to send them into the playoffs. I would favor them in the playoffs, of course, not even depending on who they play, but every World Cup cycle seems to have that one casualty, and I'm not making any prediction on that, but I think people need to keep an eye on Spain here because I don't know. I'm not sold on them, and that's why I have them on standby.
Yeah, it's difficult to actually say like it, and it's gonna be very gutsy to say, okay, this is the big team that misses out. That's gonna take a whole lot of guts. But I think standby is very, very fair because of them going through the transition. Luis Enrique playing, calling up very youthful players, and he's leaving out the veterans. Like he made a gutsy call not to take Sergio Ramos to the Euros, and it kind of paid off. They didn't really miss him, but who knows? Who knows if Sergio Ramos would have made the difference at the end and win the Euros for Spain? You never know. But you see, but there's still a little doubt around them. But I think they will qualify. This is what I think. I think they will make it, even though they go through playoffs. They have the quality, especially with Emerick Laporte at the back there now, and youngsters like Pau Torres coming through, Pedri. I think they have the quality to make it, man.
They certainly do. Also, fun fact about that Spanish squad from the summer. It was the first time, I think, in 70 years that not a single Real Madrid player got called up for that squad. Luis Enrique's been. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is crazy, man. And you also have to shout out guys like Pedri and Pau Torres, who played for their clubs the entire season, played the Euros, and went and played the Olympics for Spain and back into the new season again. These guys are stallions, man.